So here we have the needle threader hook, and here we have the eye of the needle. So you have to always remember this needle threader hook is going to go through the eye of the needle. It has to pull back through 2 thicknesses of the threads that you're trying to get through the eye of the needle. So if you look at this thread could more than likely be pulled back through that needle eye. That is a size 12 needle eye. If I tried to pull this thread through a size 12 needle eye, it's going to break or bend, disfigure my needle threader hook, and it's probably going to flex, bend, or break my needle as I'm trying to get it through there. And it's not going to go. 2 thicknesses of this thread is not going to go through the eye of that needle. This thread would make it through the 2 thicknesses of that thread, and the needle threader hook should make it through that eye with no problem. That's a size 12 needle. If we go to this thread, the next size up, this is quite a bit heavier thread, so we would probably need a size 14 to go through this needle eye with 2 layers of this, 2 thicknesses of this thread, plus the needle threader hook. You're going to need to at least go to a size 14 needle for this. You can test this essentially by putting your needle threader through, and if it's going to flex your needle, if it's not going to come through, you can actually release the needle threader or back it up so that you can unhook the thread off of the needle threader hook and then remove the needle threader hook from the eye of the needle. That way you won't damage your needle threader hook and you won't bend, flex, or break your needle. So the size of the thread is super important. This thread is a 69 size nylon. It's for upholstery class machines. Well, you're not going to get the needle threader hook, 2 layers of this and through that. And for the extreme example, you are not going to get 2 layers of this and this needle threader hook through the eye of that needle. That is an impossibility. But that's just an extreme example. So you understand thread size does make a difference on the needle. This needle threader hook is designed for needles size 11 and above. Size 11 needles, you would need to use an embroidery weight thread or lightweight embroidery weight thread. Otherwise, you're going to damage the hook or damage the needle. Size 10 needles, size 70/10 needles, are too small for this needle threader hook. If you try to do that, you will increase the likelihood that you're going to deform the needle threader hook, or you're going to bend, break, or flex your needle. And I know a lot of people have said, well, I've been using size 10 needles with my needle threader, for years. Well, your time's coming. It's going to wind up eventually messing up your needle threader hook. They're not designed for size 10 needles. The manufacturers on most of these are going to say size 12 and larger. You can do an 11, but you have to make sure that it is a very lightweight thread. So size 12, you can use most sewing threads and be able to use your needle threader to pull the thread through the eye of the needle. So there are 2 types of machines with automatic needle threaders. One of them does not have a synchronizer, and you have to position the machine appropriately. The other one, as in this example, has a needle down, needle up button. If you have that, your machine is automatically going to stop in the exact spot for the hook to go through the eye of the needle if you just let off of your foot control and stop and rethread then. If you move the hand wheel, then the eye is not going to be in the proper spot. So if we take and we press our needle up button, you see the needle is going to stop with the eye in the proper place for us to be able to thread our needle. So using the correct size needle and the correct size thread, you will prepare your machine for threading the needle. And there's instructions with your machines to tell you how to do that. As this one goes down, it goes through the eye of the needle, and you will notice the thread is through the eye of the needle. So it has to be perfectly aligned, or otherwise you will not thread the needle. If the hook is bent to the left or bent to the right because you were using too large of a thread for the needle or too small of a thread, then each time you try to use it, you will not be able to thread your needle. Usually you have to bring that machine in so I can either align the needle threader itself, replace the needle threader, or adjust the synchronizer so that it's it's going to be in the right, the needle eye is going to be in the right position, and the needle hook, threader hook, will go through the eye of the needle and pull two thicknesses of thread back through the eye of the needle. So this is a manual machine. It does not have any built-in synchronizer to stop the needle eye at the proper spot for the hook to thread, the needle threader hook to go through the eye of the needle and thread your needle for you. So you have to manually do this. So what you're going to wind up doing is you're going to look at two particular things. Actually three. I'm going to lower the presser foot so I have a little bit more room. Okay. And I need to raise my needle to its highest position. Okay, I have my needle at its highest position. However, up here, the take-up lever should be at its highest position also. So remember, needle at its highest position, take-up lever at its highest position. And if you'll notice, you will see the take-up lever right there. And those are both at the highest position. Now I should be able to thread my needle. So I'm going to grab this hook right here. And as I go down, the needle threader is going to pivot. I'm going to go against the needle and up. And then the hook should be able to grab that and pull it through the eye of the needle. And you see the loop that's built so that we can pull our thread out and our needle is all threaded. So it's important to remember the needle eye, or the needle should be at its topmost position, and your take-up lever should be at its topmost position. And that's something that you should always do, is have both of those to the top position whenever you start and stop sewing. It shows that the stitch is complete, and that's why you should do that. So some of these machines are going to have pretty automated systems, especially for the needle threader, because they know sometimes the hand wheel gets moved, and the needle might not be in the proper position for the threader eye, or the threader hook and the needle eye to line up and thread your needle. So on this one, we have a needle threader button up here. So when we press this, you will see that the needle will reposition itself and the presser foot will drop down out of its way. And voila, our needle has been threaded. So with this machine, it's just super important, you know, it's automated. So if you have the wrong needle in your machine, you know, too light of a needle, say a size 60, and you're using, for extreme example, a jean stitching thread, that's not going to go through that eye. And because this is automated, it is going to hang up and bend or flex your needle and or ruin your needle threader hook. So it's important, before you touch this button up here, you make sure you have a thread that two thicknesses of it and the needle threader hook will go through the eye of that needle. If it won't, you're going to mess up your needle threader and or your hook. So on these machines that are real automated like this, you notice it goes through in a fairly fluid motion and completes the needle threading procedure pretty quickly and efficiently. Well, the important thing is to note that that needle threader does not stop. So if we show you this again, if we press this button, it does not hesitate. It threads the machine all the way through. So before you press this button, you want to make sure that your thread, two thicknesses of your thread, and the needle threader hook can go through the eye of the needle. If it's not going to be able to make it through the eye of the needle, this threader system, automated threader system, is not going to stop. it's gonna mess up your threader hook, break your needle, all different kinds of bad stuff. So always make sure you're using the correct size needle and the correct size thread. 2 thicknesses of the thread have to be able to go through the eye of the needle with the needle threader hook. That's super important, or otherwise you'll be back in for me to readjust your needle threader hook or replace it. Again, here we have a sewing machine that has an automation system that will automatically lower the presser foot and set the needle so that the needle eye at the proper height so that the needle threader hook can go through the eye of the needle and thread your needle. This, if you're not sure if it's done this yet, you can touch the needle up and needle down button right here, and that will take the needle down and it will bring the needle back up and stop it in the exact position it's supposed to for the needle threader to function. Once you get that done, then we will, this is a manual threading machine, so we're going to thread our needle. If you notice, our needle is now threaded. So it repositions everything for you, so it takes the guesswork out of it. Even though it does not have an automated motor system to move this needle threader down, rotate it, and thread the eye of the needle, it just has a manual lever on the side over here. It still repositions the needle for you, drops your presser foot out of the way so that it's easier for you to thread the machine. So here we have another manual machine. However, if you notice, it has a needle up and needle down button. So if we press that button, it will bring our needle back up so that our eye and our threader hook are perfectly aligned for us to thread our needle. And notice our needle is now threaded. So here we have another manual needle threading machine, although it does have the needle up and needle down button. I've already pressed that to make sure that our needle has come up and stopped by itself in the proper position for us to thread our needle. This one threads a little bit differently. But there, our needle is all threaded. So it's important that we have the proper size thread and needle in there. Otherwise, you're going to flex the hook or the needle, break your hook, ruin your needle threader. So it's super important that you use the correct needle threader. So here's a machine that is a manual needle threader, but it does have a needle up and needle down button. So we're going to press that to make sure our needle eye is stopped in the proper position for us to thread our needle. So this thread is definitely too heavy to get 2 thicknesses of this thread and the needle hook through the eye of the needle. You'll be able to see what I'm explaining to you about hurting your machine, or especially your threader. So if we pull this underneath here, okay, and if you notice, I can turn loose of this and it doesn't do anything. If I try to pull it up, you can see the needle is flexing horribly. It actually did pull it through, but I may have already damaged my needle threader hook. So it's important that you don't use too large of a needle. The larger threads also, the thread that you're using has to be able to slide through this needle thread groove. If it's going to hang into the needle thread groove because it's too large of diameter for the size of this needle thread groove, then you'll have all kinds of problems trying to stitch with it. So there's more than one reason why you should not use a thread that's too heavy for the needle. When you get into upholstery weight threads like this one is, the best thing to do is just, if you want to use that, make sure you use a size 16 or larger needle, and make sure that you just thread your needle and don't use your needle threader hook. You're improving the odds that you're going to damage your needle threader hook by trying it on upholstery thread. So when threading the needles on a serger, some of them will also have a needle threader also. Your needle threader is here, and notice it has a left and a right. So this can be shifted left or right for the two different needles. And so it's important that you shift it to the one that you're threading and that you are threading the correct needle. But it's the same principle, is you should always have a needle and thread that you can pull two thicknesses of the thread and the needle thread or hook back through the eye of the needle. On sergers, I recommend always using a 90-14 for everything you sew. You don't have to worry about needle flexing with 90-14s. It's very rare if that happens, and it's weaker than the loopers. So if you do have a needle go through crooked and the looper picks it up, it'll break the needle, not the looper. If you use a size 100, then you can damage your looper. If you use a size 12 or lighter, you get needle flex, and you're going to have more broken needles, and the broken needles are what cause the damage to your machines. So important thing, main thing is the needle threader works the same on a serger, except it has two different positions, left and right, for the two needles. So now that we've gone through all of the automated setup, I'm going to show you, if you've messed up your needle threader or you don't have a needle threader, what I found many years ago trying to thread a needle while I was demonstrating a sewing machine to a really nice, sweet little old lady. She watched me fumble trying to thread that needle while I was showing her the machine. And so she said, "Here, Sonny, let me show you how." So you lower the presser foot, you put the thread between two fingers, rest your hands on the bed of the sewing machine, and it makes it super easy to guide that right through the needle. Just like that. How simple is that? Just two fingers, rest your hands, lower your presser foot, and you can guide it right in that hole. I hope this helps, and thank you for watching. And if you would like to subscribe, you'll be able to see all of the new videos. It's usually a couple per month that I'm coming out with, at least. And hit the bell, you'll be notified when I upload one, because it's throughout the month that I do that. And please leave me a comment and tell me if any of this stuff helped you out, or how you like the videos.